is what she goes
No, you gotta go back to the top of that page. Back to the other way. Go back for the first screen.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and I'm so glad y'all are here.
You're not streaming any
I'm
place.
so glad that y'all are here. And so I'm going to get started. Okay, well, let me get started with my lecture. And we want to start reviewing. Then we're going to start with lecture 1. Okay? And so thank y'all so very much. I appreciate everything. And thank you, Ms. Okalation, for helping. Well, good afternoon, everyone. And I'm so glad she's getting the name right. Y'all know me. I'm so glad that I will get here eventually. And so I'm going to get started. Appreciate it. Well, let me get started with my health lecture. And we want to start reviewing. Then we're going to start with lecture 1. Okay? And so thank y'all so very much. I appreciate everything. And thank you, Ms. Okalation, for helping. Well, good afternoon, everyone. And I'm so glad she's getting the name right. Y'all know me. I'm so glad that I will get here eventually. And so I'm going to get started. Appreciate it. Well, let me get started with my health lecture. And okay, very good. So now it's muted, and we're doing the work. And so we're on the program here. We're doing a review at this time. And so we'll continue on with our review. So we're starting with assignment 1 lecture in doing this review. And so I hope all of you have submitted your work to me. If not, you need to do it as soon as possible so I can put your grade. You got to upload, as I've told you before, and giving you the instructions. You have to upload each assignment lecture in a PowerPoint form. And so that's where your grade is going to come from. Also, I want to tell many of you that I will be teaching social research methods in summer 2. So you may want to get ready to go and try to get into that class. Some of you will need it for an elective. Those who are in the major will need it because it's your major course and you must take that course. If you take it now, it will advance you so you can graduate on time. That's the goal, that all of you graduate when you're supposed to graduate. So I will be teaching that course. It's a 4,000 level course, and the name of the course is Social Research Methods. The course number is SOCW 4332. And it's Dr. McDonald. I will be teaching that course in summer 2. Now, let us begin with the review with our lectures. And we may not finish all of them today, but we will get started. So we will do assignment number 1 lecture. So we know the text stated that social workers do what? They link people with systems as a major thrust of social work. The systems are considered to be individuals or groups or a community of individuals. We use that because in social work, we use a theory which is called a systems theory, where you have an individual could be a system, a family could be a system, that'd be the family, the extended family, that's part of the system. Or you can, and that's all considered under the micro system, would be the individual. Then you have the meso system, which would be the communities or the groups. You would have groups of individuals, organizations, small organizations, small groups would be under the meso level. Then you have the micro level systems, which would be society in general, or large organizations such as what? The NASW, the National Association of Social Workers. Those are large systems. And that's a major thrust of social work. Now, the step in social work in which problem or situation is analyzed and interpreted is called assessment. And that is the first step in problem or situation analyzation. The first step is the assessment. And then we have the lifespan development, which is separated in this text according to infancy and childhood, adolescence, young and middle adulthood, and later adulthood. Now, the way this works is you have 1, 2, 3, and 4 areas. You have the infancy and childhood, that's area number 1. That's in the lifespan. You start off as an infant, then you move into your childhood. Then you move into adolescence. That's the teenagers and pre-teenagers. And you know, they run from ages 10 to 18. That's what's considered adolescent. But then, well, actually, it's actually 20. And then you have the young and middle adulthood that runs from age 21 up until age 64. And then you have the later adulthood, which runs from age 65 up. Now, I might want to add in this new style of living that you have 3 areas of later adulthood, or what some people style older adulthood or senior adulthood. It has 3 levels. You have the young elderly, the middle age or the old elderly, and they have age ranges, and then you have the old or the very old elderly. And so you have those different areas in later adulthood that you would get if you move further and study social gerontology or the intro to gerontology. Number 4, we have the psychological aspects of development, which concern how people think about themselves, how they think about others, and how they think about the environment around them. So we have the psychological aspect of development. And notice that this is all part of human behavior in the social environment. And this is also working with individuals, helping them to understand their environment and themselves. Now, let's look at number 5, diversity. We're talking about human diversity, which is a vast range of differences among groups, including those related to what? Age, class, color, culture, disability, ethnicity, gender, gender identity, and expression, immigration status, political ideology, race, religion, sex, and sexual orientation. Notice there's a vast range of differences among various groups, and that's why it's called diverse, which is human diversity. So you see there's a large range of these, there is many of them, and they have more, they should have said, etc., because as human society grows, you have different orientations and different diversities with different areas of concern and social problems. Number 6, the act of treating people differently because they belong to some group rather than on merit is identified in the text as discrimination. So let's say, what is discrimination? Discrimination is the act of treating people differently because they don't belong to your group, or they don't do like you want them to do, but they merit being belonging into what they do exceptionally well. But you don't base it on their merit, you base it on their color maybe. Let's look at color. You might say because this person is different with color, then I'm going to treat them different. I don't care how much they know. I don't care how professional they are. I don't care how knowledgeable they are, but they are not like me, or they are not like the people in my group. Therefore, I am going to treat them differently, which is discrimination. Number 7, what is prestige? It is the amount of social respect or standing given to an individual based on their occupation. However, it can be based on their wealth, or it can be based on their position in society. We give a lot of respect to the police department, where we used to give a lot of respect to the police. We would see them and we would immediately try not to do anything, and we still do, anything that is of criminal activity in front of them. We respect the firemen because we want to make sure that if something happens with a fire, that they're there to help resolve that issue, as well as our politicians. When we have an issue that we want to have resolved, we want to be on their good side, as they call it, or we want to show them respect because we know they are in a position of authority. Also, let's look at the ministry. We respect the ministers. We expect them to behave a certain way, and we expect, or expected of us to behave a certain way when we are around them. So that's when you give them a lot of respect and call it social respect. Now, resiliency. Now, what is resiliency? That's number 8 on this level we're talking. The ability of an individual, family, group, community, or organization to recover from adversity and resume functioning, even when suffering serious trouble, confusion, or hardship. Resiliency in the short term means to bounce back. Means because something detrimental happened to you or your group or your community, it will not keep you from moving forward and recovering from that bad situation. Case in point, most recently, Hurricane Harvey, which devastated the Houston area. But the people are doing what? Bouncing back. They are resilient. They are coming back. They're coming together as a group. They're coming together as a community. And different organizations are going in, and different organizations are established there already. They help each individual and every family to what? Bounce back or what? Recover from that disastrous situation. The other one we could look at is still going on is Hurricane Maria over in Puerto Rico. They're still saying that there's more people were devastated than first reported. However, they are still coming together and still working together in spite of that devastating hurricane. And they'll have different groups going in, different organizations going in, family members are coming from across the United States and wherever, and also different individuals are going and help doing what we will call human situational help, where we volunteer our services and whatever we have, professional, paraprofessional, or just construction, whatever we can do to help our fellow citizens to recover. And they are helping themselves as well, and that is called resiliency. Number 9, social workers have in a trustworthy manner. They behave in a trustworthy manner. Social workers challenge social injustice, and social workers recognize the central importance of human relationships that are based on ethical principles in the NASW Code of Ethics. As I will keep saying, that's the acronym. NASW is the acronym for the National Association of Social Workers. And yes, and I'm a member, we have a code of ethics that guide us. Social workers are guided by the code of ethics, and that is also taught in every school of social work, every level of social work. The code of ethics is constantly being taught, and we base our work on that because of the trustworthiness worthiness of social workers, we must be genuine, show empathy, and we should also form a good relationship with our clients and those who are less fortunate, where they will have a trust in us, knowing that we are there for them and not for ourselves or vain glory. Remember, the NSW is the National Association of Social Workers, and we have a code of ethics. And you can download the code of ethics by going to the National Association of Social Workers website and just Google in code of ethics, and it will pop them up, and it will tell you what all the social workers believe in and what the social workers stand for and what we practice. So, critical thinking is the careful examination and evaluation of beliefs and actions to establish an independent decision about what is true and what is not true. So we think critically so that we can examine and evaluate various beliefs and actions, so that we can make sure that we form an independent decision about what is true and what is not true. We want to make sure that we are doing the right thing, that we are doing what is true and what is rightful to be done. What is human rights? Human rights involve the premise that all people, regardless of their race, their culture, or their national origin, are entitled to basic rights and treatments. Now, a set of elements which are orderly and interrelated to make a functional whole is a system. Notice earlier I told you what a system was, what it composed of, and so it's a set of elements which are orderly and interrelated. A family could be a system because it's a set of individuals, and they should be orderly, and they are what? Interrelated. And they make up a whole. They are individuals that come together and they make up the whole, which is a what? System. A role is the culturally established social behavior and conduct expected of a person in any designated interpersonal relationship. A role is the culturally established social behavior and conduct expected of a person in any designated interpersonal relationship. So each person has a role in a relationship. Let's say a family. You have the father, that's his established social behavior and conduct. You have the mother, same thing. Then you have the children. Their behavior is supposed to be, and conduct is expected in this relationship, and it's established by what? The culture of that particular family. Then we have the mesosystem, which refers to any type of small group. A small group could be the family, the extended family. It could be a group of people that come together as a social club, as long as it's a small group. It could be a class of 10 to 20 people. That's a system. That's a mesosystem. It could be a small groups within the school. It could be the social work club. So it's a small group. A small group of people or individuals are considered a mesosystem. All right? So, let's look at number 15. The structural perspective on communities. Focus on how individuals fit into their community environment and are linked to those who govern them. That shows, usually they have a chart that shows where individuals are on this chart and how they fit into the community environment and are linked to those who govern them, such as, let's use a city. You have the mayor and you have the board of governors of the council. You have the various entities in that environment, like the fire marshal, his department, the police department, the police chief, and then you have it all the way down to individual members in that community, and see how each person, each family, each group, social group fit into that community environment, and how they are linked to those who govern, like political action committees and so forth. It is true regarding the social planning model that the planner is generally employed by a segment of the power structure. In the text, when it was not practical to refer to specific countries of origin, the authors arbitrarily used the terms Latino or Latina to refer to a wide range of ethnic groups within the population of people who originated from countries with a Spanish heritage, such as Cuba, Santo Domingo, places of that nature, Guatemala, and etc. In the social action model, the text lists partisan social work role. Community capacity development is the community change approach that assumes that change is best accomplished when people affected by problems are empowered with the knowledge and skills needed to understand their problems and then work cooperatively together to overcome them. That's when a community comes together. And that is what they call the community change approach. The community capacity development. That's when the community comes together to develop and make changes, that they become empowered to help themselves when they're affected by a problem, that they get the knowledge and skills to understand that problem, and then they come together and work together to overcome those problems. Individual practitioners and whole agencies are called upon to prove that their performance is productive and valuable. This is called accountability. So, accountability is when practitioners and whole agencies come together, are called upon to prove that their performance is productive and valuable. They have to prove that what they're doing is productive and it is valuable. That means they have to be accountable for what they are doing. The social work role that involves resolving arguments or conflicts among individuals, groups, or society or community systems is the mediator. The mediator is there to resolve any arguments or conflicts that individuals may have, that's micro, that groups or families may have, that's meso, or what organizations may have, large organizations may have arguments or disagreements. Then the social worker role in this is mediator. He helps to resolve those issues, or he or she help resolve those issues. Management in social work involves having some level of administrative responsibility for a social agency or other unit in order to accomplish all of the following except client cope with stresses. There's a lot of things a social worker does, but the social worker does not, management does not involve helping clients cope with stress. At the administrative level, the management responsibility is for the agency to administrate the policies and procedures of the agency, but it does not help with the client to cope with stresses. That's what the subordinate does. That's what the social worker inside the agency does. That's their work, is to help the client to cope with stresses. The educator's social work role involves giving information and teaching skills to clients in other systems. That means you can do presentations to groups and to the community. You can do outlines, you can do teaching, you can help with various activities that help them to move forward and become more productive. The initiator role is the person or persons, and this is the social worker role. Now, social worker have many roles. One is mediator, one is management, another is educator, and now we're talking about the initiator. And that's the one who calls attention to an issue. Not only does he call attention to the issue, but the initiator is the one who starts the process to resolve the issue at hand. And lastly, we recognize the extent to which a culture, structures, and values may oppress, marginalize, or alienate, or create, or enhance privilege and power. It is a practice behavior listed under educational policy and standards core competencies. Yes, this comes from the educational policy and standards from the CSW, which is the Council on Social Work Education, which means that social workers engage in diversity and difference in practice. All right? So, we have concluded this chapter 1 for a review. Tomorrow we will do chapter 2 for your review. And we're getting ready for our last segment. So we'll do chapter 2 on tomorrow. So I just want to say thank you for your participation. And we're glad that you have been with us this day.